Hello, good viewer. Welcome to this YouTube channel, Life in Abundance, Our Divine Heritage. I have begun from the last video talk on the subject of creative thinking, your mind workshop. And this is my second video, which I have given a title, The Premium Operating System of Your Mind Shop. There are three levels of the mind. We shall deal with the first level here, which we normally use in our ordinary activities. I refer it as workshop, for it is the working mind which relates to the world we live in. This mind workshop operates on three processes or stages. I call them 3 I's: the idea, interpretation, and implementation. These are dictated by your mental attitude. If you are working on the negative threshold, which is the wrong approach, the results will be in the negative and not successful. The first process is the idea, or call it a dream, which comes into your mind from the impressions or suggestions you get, generally from your conscious mind, or people, or environment, or circumstances. Many a time God brings the idea, but we may not recognize it. I will discuss more on this in the next video talk. The idea could be a very faint thought. It depends on how you grasp it and desire to work on it. Many thought ideas come and go, for good or for bad. For many of them are not useful. Oh, we do not recognize them, and our minds just ignore. Sometimes we realize when we are too late. Think of this. It's so common for people to have ideas and they try to implement them before they go through this second stage. The results are usually drastic. On the other hand, those ideas which go through scrutiny in the interpretation stage become highly successful. Now, the interpretation process works best in terms of responding to the 7 common leading questions. Why? How? Which? What? Who? Where? And when? This often leads the mind to search either from inside, where there is stored information, or outside, where information is collected in various ways. Let me now address the 7 basic questions or processes. Firstly, the why. This is the determining factor for the direction to take. It determines the purpose, the reason, or motive. Although often motive is used to refer to details seen from a negative point of view. On this, the negative approach brings doubt, hindering any further progress. But when you act from positive aspect, this will lead you to explore critical areas that relate to the project you are dealing with. It derives strength from your inner desire to achieve. Secondly, the how. This determines the method that can be used. It drives the mind to search for possible activities that will make the idea or dream realizable. The negative brings in the mind possible impediments, blocking any further action. But in our case, it is the way forward that we are seeking. Thirdly, the which. This works on choices, preferences, or priorities when there are many ideas. This helps when you have to consider the urgency and importance. Many a time when we are on a certain course of work, other issues crop up, either brought by people or thoughts popping out in our minds. In organization, issues come out which demand attention. When they come, we have to consider whether they are important and what is the urgency. Let me digress a bit to talk about this important stroke urgency thinking. It is a very, very interesting situation, because in an office or in any situation, the issues that come about are on different levels. There's those issues that are very important, but not urgent. And then there are those issues that are very urgent, but not important. Our case is to make a decision and judge those important issues and urgent. Those we give the first priority. Then those which are urgent but they are not necessarily important, we will not consider as much. Because important issues are critical. Suppose in your office somebody comes and they would like to discuss about going or a date for a date or whatever issue outside the work you are doing, and the work is very heavy. You will not, however urgent that is, you will not give it a priority. However, there are some urgent issues that do not create demand, and therefore you attend to it and forget it. But make sure those which are important are the top priority. Actually, here we are only getting the ground to help make an informed decision when we come to the implementation stage, because that's what will be when you are implementing. Further is the what. This is where we determine the means or the tools. Here, tools can be physical equipment or the preparation of the mind where we prepare references for action. Let me give you an illustration. When I was running course for senior clergy in the 90s, I organized workshops where every clergy could write down every possible resource in their place of work. This could be the geographical potential, the human resources, the economic situation, the infrastructure, and other physical or mind or spiritual availabilities of whatever the case it was. It was so enriching when on the implementation stage they could see the potential they were not tapping before. Fifthly, the who. This leads to the determination of people to implement the idea. We refer this as human resources. It is here that the decision to inform, train, orientate, etc. is made. They would have to go through the process to assimilate or own the project. You cannot own a project if you do not understand it. So preparation is very, very, very important. And that means even the one who is preparing must be fully informed about it. This gives direction for the implementation. Actually, this is a good part of the implementation. Effective preparation makes it easy to make people implement properly. Sixthly is the where. This makes the mind work out the route or direction. It's the plan of action. Mind you, I'm emphasizing more on the working of the mind rather than the physical aspect of it. There could be a survey of various aspects of the direction. If, for example, one was planning to do a business, it would be prudent to locate where possible ground is more favorable. You cannot go to semi-arid areas and set your computer more, or even go to sell warm clothing to those hot areas. It cannot work. Therefore, the issue of determining where this is going to be is very, 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 very important. Then the last one is the seventh one, the when. This works on time plan. When the stage is done well, it is bound to give great result at the implementation stage. Sometimes seasons and circumstances dictate the timing of implementation. Again, there are programs that demand quick action, while others may require long duration. Yet again, the above mentioned 6 processes will help determine the time frame. Now, finally, when all is done, we go to the implementation stage. This is most important part of the process, or it is not. If it is not effected, the idea or dream will remain but a dream. This is fully dependent on the working out at the interpretation stage. Most of the projects fail because not enough time was taken to consider the path to follow. This also happens to go with human relationship. If there is a challenge at the implementation stage, reference always goes back to the second stage. I remember a case when I was in Bristol. There is a bridge called Suspension Bridge. And the person called Brunner, who was the engineer, knew all about it. But when they went and found a hiccup, and they tried to think, they had to go to Brunner. And he had the idea. So he knew it. So the real issue is how you set your interpretation of it. I have another illustration. The case of Joseph of history. When he was told the dream and he interpreted the dream for Pharaoh, he did not stop there. He explained how the whole system was going to happen when the planting, when the plentiful 7 years were going to come. As we read from Genesis chapter 41, verse 25. And especially verse 33 and 37, Joseph explained to Pharaoh the process of what need to be done, the officers to do the work, the cities, and the stores where this food was going to be put. All those things Joseph had prepared very well. Funny enough, he was given the job. And when he was given, in the implementation stage, he did thoroughly because of what he had predicted and had known and had prepared. And it was so successful. The Egyptians never went hungry. And of course, you remember the story. Joseph's siblings and their family, their father rather, benefited from it. Now, finally, a major part of the process of the second stage of the process that I have mentioned of interpretation actually works on various key areas of our lives. Whereas we have what I've been saying is more of the thinking process, which has been describing. It will not be fully complete without using the deeper part of life, that is the feeling or the spiritual aspect. I shall give a story here. I read of a case of a lady who went to America, and she was given a very, very, very delightful cake. And she asked the chef to give her the recipe, and she was given. She went back to Europe. She tried to make the cake. Of course, the cake came out, but did not come out well. So years later, she went back there to the old chef and asked, I said, I did all that you gave me the formula, but it did not taste the way you has tasted. And then the chef asked all the details, and he said, you did not put your spirit in it. Putting the spirit in whatever one does is very, very, very critical. When I was organizing similar courses I have mentioned a little bit earlier on the church administration and management of senior clergy, I realized this aspect of the spirit or inspiration, because I could get help from scholars. They came with books on management and all sorts of academic work, and they taught and they taught. Then I realized When we go, and you might be one of them, you don't know the clergy, you have studied everything about your work. But when you go to implement, you find something is not getting right. And that something is a spiritual aspect. And we could have much teaching, even counseling, or whatever, which is dry academic, including medical. If a doctor is just using medicine, what he studied, and he is not putting spirit in the treatment of the particular patient, it does not go very well. Because the spirit is very, 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 very important. I shall talk about this in the next talk, where we appeal to the inner mind, which is known as the subconscious. Now, I'm posting this message as text on my website, which you can see down. Please take time to go to the website, read it, make it your working document. We can make a forum for further discussion there on my website. And also, I urge you to share this with your friends. Meanwhile, if you have not subscribed to this channel, to this videos channel, please do so that we can get information. We shall talk more in the next forthcoming video. May God bless you and prepare your heart and mind to learn more. Thank you.